Good evening. I hope you're all well. So today I'll start by the school management system, demonstrate how to use some if, demonstrate how to use index match, and also pivot tables and charts. So I'm going to create a dataset, a fictitious dataset here. That is a school management system. School management system. So the first thing you need to have in a school management system is always what you call a unique identifier or what you call a primary key, something that differentiates different cases, something that is unique among different observations or different records. So at this point, I'm going to have what you call serial number. So I'm just going to have S and a forward stroke for serial number. And I'm going to demonstrate how to come up with serial number that is dynamic. So I'm going to use, because this column, I'm going to have, for example, name, that is name, gender. I'm going to have now maybe units, and the first unit being math. Then we have science, we have psychology, and finally we have those are four. We have English, and let's talk about chemistry. So for the names, I'm going to use a function called sequence. So sequence will give me sequence of rows, but I'm going to add sequence, and I'm going to add a function called count A that counts the number of rows that are not blank. So that is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight this entire area, but I'm going to change this function to start from, let's say, B3 to, let's say, be 1,000. So it can be up to 1,000. Yeah, so that is basically what I'm going to do. Then press enter. And if I write the first name, for example, James, it automatically gives me numbers. And then I want this serial number to be somehow dynamic. So I'm going to add the following. So I'm going to add, assuming today is, I'm going to use X T1, XTK, in uppercase XTK, then a forward slash, or we are 2024, then whatever follows is going to be 00, then 1. Okay, so basically that is what I want, and I'm going to use an AND function. So if I use an AND function, you'll be able to see if I drag this, and you can now see it forms for me a serial number that is very unique. So assuming I want it to, assuming it's that point, then I'm going to have now the second name as, let's talk about Jen, Joy, Jacqueline, Jennifer, Job, John. So maybe I need 10 of them. Again, there is a way we can automatically format this number. So I want us to write a code that will adjust for us the column width automatically. So right click, come to view code, then from general change it to worksheet, one tab. Just basically a tab is always 4 spaces. So the command is cells dot entire column dot autofit. So basically that is command. So if you press enter, just close this tab. These are basically a visual basic code. So if I click anywhere, it automatically adjusts the length for me. Again, I want to center this one across the selection. So you can do merge center, but at this point I'm going to do it merge across selection, where I just control 1, you can press control 1, then alignment. From alignment go to center across selection, or you can use this arrow down here. So basically the difference between center cross selection and merge center is simple. For center cross selection, I can be able to select individual cells. But if assuming I did center and merge, which is that I am not able to do what, to select the individual cells. So from there, I'm going just to double click on it again, then on this arrow, general center cross selection, then click OK. So That is it. And I want 10 of them. John, J, uh, Jonathan. I think the last one would be Jonathan. Okay. Then you can see the numbers are done automatically. That is the good thing about knowing how to use dynamic functions. The next thing is I'm going to have is gender. So gender, James is male, Jen is female, 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 there's female, female, male, 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 male. So basically that is it. Then here I'm going to use a function called rand between that randomizes a number between a range, a specified range, the lower case, the lower limit and the upper limit. So assuming the lowest can get 20, the top can get 100. So basically this is it. Autofill up down there, then autofill across again. So basically that is it. Again, something you need to realize, if you do anything, these numbers keep on changing. It means the function is running. So what do? Control A to select everything, Control C, then press Alt. You see what is active, H, then you're going for V because you want to paste V, and again you want to paste special, which is V again. So once you do that, the values have now been copy pasted, but now they have been copy pasted special. I want to put borders across this. I want us to have borders. So to have borders, just come under Home tab, then borders across it. Again, we can increase the font a little bit and to make it very clear. So the first thing I want us to do is find the total for the 5 subjects that we have. So I'm going to have a column here called total. And the first thing to do is to have the total. There are several options, but I'm going to use the shortest one. So I'm going to highlight the entire area and press Alt equal. So pressing Alt equal on your keyboard allows you to auto sum. So basically that is it. So I want to increase some of this these people to get a student having, let's say, 400 and above, and others having 300 and 200 as well. So the one is having 400 here. I want another one to have, yeah, I think this is okay. I want one more to have the data is okay, so I'll leave it at that point. To find the mean, we use the function average. So just write average, and you'll have average here. Then select the numbers. Again, if you can't remember the function average, just remember that you can divide this number by 5 because you have 5 subjects. So just click on the total, divide by 5. You'll be able to get the same value. But at this point, I'm getting an error. Let me see. There is some error. Okay. Fine. Let me redo it again. Just clear this point, then add average. This is the mean. So mean, I'm going to use average. So there's that function average. Then I want the average of these 5 numbers. Yeah, that is basically it. So the other time I had not selected this one. So again, you can find average using just dividing this number by 5. Divide by 5 and you get your average as well. You can see it gives you the same value. Good. Control minus to delete, Control Shift plus to add a cell. The number of cells you select is equal to the number of cells that are going to be added. If I select, let's say, this one, it's going to add the total number of cells that are equal to the number of cells I've highlighted. Basically, that is what it does. Look at that. So I have total here. I can just copy format by using the painter. So to do that, it's very simple. What you need to do is basically click on where there's a format, use the painter to copy. It will just copy the format alone. It won't copy anything. So I said this is our data. You need to again name your sheets well so that at least easier to navigate through. The next thing is I want us to use index match to retrieve the information about any student on any subject. But before that, let's grade these people and give them a comment. So grades, and I'm going to use these metrics where somebody is, if you have 80 and above, is an A. That is an A. If you have between 70 to 80, that is a B. If you have above 60, that is a C. If you have above 50, that is a D. Then somebody is having above 40, we're having an E. So this is an E. Press F2 to edit anything. F2 on your keyboard enables you to edit anything in case you make a mistake. Then if you have anything below, you have a D. Otherwise, you have an F. So this is, we're going to use what you call nested if function. So for nested if function, I'm going to say if this mean is less than 40, so I'm using less than, but we are going to see whether we can use less than or and also we can use the greater than operator. So if that is less than 40, you have an F. Okay. If the same, you write another if. You write another if function. If the same J3 is less than 40, it's less than 50. So I think it's supposed to be less than, this is less than 30. Let me make this is less than 30. If you have anything less than 30, F. If you have anything less than 40, you have an E. If you have J, your J3 is, if your mean is, if your mean J3 is less than 60, you have a D. If it's less than 60, that is a D. And we go on. If your J3 is less than 70, I think I confused somewhere here. So this is supposed to be 50. So one is supposed to be 40, this is supposed to be 40, this is supposed to be 50, and that is 60. Now if you have less than 70, let me talk about 70. That is a C. So I want it to be 40, 50, 60. Okay. Let me just hold the way it was. That is 40. And finally 50 for C. For D, then 70. If you have anything less than 60, you have a, so between 50 to 60, between 60, okay, then that is a C. Again, another if function. If your J3 is less than 70, between 60 to 70, you have a B. You have a B. So that is a B. It's supposed to be less than, anything less than 80, we have a B. Otherwise, you have an A. So if you have more than 80, you have an A. So let me just adjust that. So this is supposed to be 70. This is 60. This is 50. And this is 40. Yeah. So I think now the logic is okay. Just press enter. 70 is a B. Anything between 70 to that one is a B. You can see the somebody is having. Again, I can make one to have this person is having 52 to go to, maybe let me make this is 40. You can see you have somebody with an A, B, C, D, and F. So basically that is it. That is what I wanted to mention. So if your mean grade is above 60, then you're supposed to be promoted. Otherwise you're going to repeat. So again, write another if function. Now this is not a nested if. So if your mean grade is greater than 60, then you're promoted. Otherwise you are to repeat. So basically that is it. Again, so you can see there is no format here. So how do I apply these borders here without coming to this point? So I'll just right click. I'll click anywhere where we have a format, then click at the painter here, then come and click on it here. Just highlight the same and it's automatically formatted the same way the others have been formatted. Again, you can change this and you can make these ones bold. You can make this is bold. You can even change the color for the entire worksheet by just coming to this point and making it something else. I think this is better. So again, I want to center this one more to up to this point. So center and across the selection. So basically that is it. Yeah, can increase the font if you feel that is so small. The next thing I want us to use index match to retrieve the information on a page, on a new page. So assuming this is the first page, this is our landing page. This is where the system is. So system. Number one, I want to use named ranges. So I'm going to name this range my data. So highlight on it, come to formula, define name. This is going to be my data. Then I'm going to name this one going to be my rows. So I'm going to name that one rows. Then I'm going to name this one as what you call the column. So basically that is as simple as that. Because index match has the syntax of the data, the row index, and the column index. That's why I've named the row index, because the unique identifier here is what? We have what? The serial number. And we're going to use the column. So columns, they appear row wise. You can see they are going downwards. They're going downwards, but we have them just in one row. Basically, that's what I'm talking about, the row and the column index. So I want to create that system here. So I'm going to have, at this point, again, I'm going to use a validation rule. So at this point, I want to have some data. So how do I use a validation? Just come to home, come to data, then from data, I want you to go to validation under tools. So validation, then I'm going to have what? A list. So this list, I'm going to choose it from this point where I'm going to have what? All these serial numbers. Press enter, click OK. So at this point, I can choose a serial number. And see that is it. I can choose that serial number. At this point, I'm going to have the list of all these subjects. So if you tell me your serial number, I will be able to tell you your name, your gender, your comment, your unit. Assuming you're taking a course, you're having courses, I would be able to tell you which course you're doing. So assuming I add a column here, maybe just have course. So for just demonstration. So maybe I'm having, this is maths. This is somebody taking psychology. Assuming that the units are common among the subjects. You're taking somebody taking economics, somebody taking medicine, somebody taking psychology, somebody taking maths, somebody taking economics, somebody taking data science, somebody taking data science, and maybe one last person is taking law. So I can be able to tell you your course, your math, maybe assuming you even add departments. So the course add maybe a specific department. We would be able to retrieve that information by just giving you what? Giving me your name. So I'm going to highlight this one, then copy. Then I want to paste it, but I want to transform it going down. So I'm going to do what you call transpose. So to do transpose, just right click, okay, paste special. Then there is what you call transpose. So if I do transpose, then I want just to paste the values alone. Sorry. So what I'll do, transpose, and you'll have them there. Again, I want to just format the area by adding borders and changing the background a bit, so to something else to make it a little bit better. So again, I want to increase the font, and I can focus on the area by just pressing zoom the selection, and I'll be able to see everything from that point. So basically that is what I wanted to show you. Again, from here now I'm going to write index. So the index match, it has the following function, the following arguments. We have the syntax is here, and the arguments is an array. And array, we say this is basically data, the data table. So I had named that data, and you can see it's here, data. Then under the row argument, we are going to use match function. So the match function, our lookup value on the rows is basically this value here, C3. So C3, and we do what? We make it absolute. So C3 is what you're looking for, the indices. Then the lookup array is on the rows. we are having it on the rows. So you can see we have several rows. The ones that I want is a data table with this Excel uh, format there. Again, do you want an exact or approximate or greater than? So we want an exact match, which is also false, represented by a 0. Close, put a comma. The next argument in the syntax is the column argument. And we're going to use another match function for the row and the column. So the lookup value is what you're looking for is that. Again, the reason why I'm not using absolute referencing for this is because I want it to change going down up to the comment. That is basically the reason me not using what absolute for that, because absolute it will remain to be this name alone. The next thing is the lookup array. The lookup array, where do we find the names, the gender? So we find them along the columns. So I'm going to call the columns. And finally, again, we just need something that is false. It means it's an exact match. Press enter and press enter. You can see index number 3 is Joy, and I want to center them. Again, you can format them to make sure they are here. So index number 3 is Joy, and Joy is promoted. Joy is having a B. We can confirm that by looking at Joy is having even 100 in mathematics, and it's clear. Again, 100 in science. So it's very clear Joy is having a B and Joy is promoted. Okay. So basically, assuming I didn't have this whatever at the back end, I can basically look at this one. So this one can be embedded, and you'll be able to, for example, change somebody's index by just clicking, let's say, index number 9. Index number 9 is Jonathan. Jonathan is a male taking data science. The guy has all the results, but with a D, and is supposed to repeat. Basically, that is the simplest way to explain index match. The next thing is, I hope everybody has understood index match. And the next thing is I want us to go to is data visualization. So these are data set. It's basically a sales data from Coca-Cola, and we have the sales customer, we have the product, we have the salesperson, region, up to channel of distribution. On the questions, we have basically we are going to use pivot tables to answer the following questions: sales per product, sales per region, and sales per year. So the first thing in using pivot tables is highlighting the entire data set, Control T to make it into a table. Then from there, you can now begin to answer the questions. So I'm going to say this is question 1. So Q1, I'm just going to call it Q1. So Q1 is what? Sales per product. So how do I get sales per product? I'm going to go to insert. Then from insert, we go to pivot table. But before I go there, there's something. You can see we have filters that have been added here. These filters, you can add them without having to convert it into a table. If you come to Home tab, there's a point under editing where we can have filters. Okay, you can add a filter without having to add it into a table. The next part is again on this data table, under table design, you can remove duplicates. So sometimes if you're working with data that you don't need any repeated values, repeated observation, or entities that are the same, then you can always click remove duplicates. But that is limited. At this point, for example, if you're doing this assignment under administrative dynamic tables, technical test, this list consists of what? Repeating name, company name. So if you convert this table, if you convert this to table, then you delete duplicates, then the only thing you're going to remain is the unique values. You can see 300 duplicates have been removed. So at this point, they want you to count the number of times each company name appears, which is very logical. You're not supposed to remove this. But if you're doing exploratory analysis, which is EDA, then it is always advisable to remove duplicates. That is one of the things people check. Because duplicates are basically very redundant. They are repeated same observation, which doesn't make sense. So at this point, you can always check whether you have any duplicates. So just click OK, and it'll tell you there is no duplicates found. Okay. So to answer question 1, sales per product, I'll go to insert, then pivot table, then I want it in an existing worksheet, which is here. The worksheet is here. So I want it somewhere there. Then press enter. sorry. So let me copy this data to another worksheet so that I think I can work on it for it's clear. So I'm going just to paste values. Then I'm going to bring the questions as well so that I can close this worksheet. Copy. The new worksheet is here. So that are the questions. So number one is name this sheet. This is data sheet. And the next one is the question. So task. These are the task. So let me close this one because it's having some errors. There's a data visualization. Don't save, that is okay. So I'm going to, the first thing is, maybe you get your data this way. The first thing is always make sure you format it to, sorry, there's a problem. Let me open that file. I didn't copy the headers and that is a mistake. So I want to copy everything, Control C, and I want to bring them here now. I want to bring them, let me bring them here. So I didn't copy. And see that is now hit, but I want to make it just values alone by just clicking on that drop down there. So number one thing is convert your data to table by pressing Control T, and you have the data to table. Again, you can press Alt H O and I to auto fit the column width proportionally. So it means it will be given the length that it requires. Basically, that is as simple as that. The next thing I want to answer question one, which I'm going to say question one. I'm just going to call it question one. And question one asks about, it asks about what? Sales per product. So at this point, I'll come to this point and check there, press enter and click OK. You can see I have my pivot table, and you can see to build a report, choose a field from the pivot table field list. So we have a field list. Sometimes you don't see your field list. So how do you get this field list? So number one, just come to, assuming you're at home tab and you don't see a field list, if you click at this table, so just come to table, pivot table analyze, then field list. So from here, I'm sure yours might be this way, but I need you to change it. I don't change it, but according to your preference, just leave it if you like it that way. But you can change the layout here from this point. Personally, I prefer this one. So I'm going to, this is sales per product. So I'm going to click on products, drag the product rows. It will summarize for me the products very nicely. Then I'm going to drag sales to value. So anything that has numbers, always take it to the what? To the values. Anything that has numbers, currency, you're trying to count something, take it to what? Anything that is categorical, take it to what? To the rows or the columns. Again, let's format these numbers to currency, control one, then number, count currency, then make sure zero decimal place, US dollar is selected, then click OK, 1,000 separate as well. As simple as that. So those are sales per product. Again, you can do what? You can sort them by just doing largest to the smallest. Another thing you can do, you can do what? You can summarize by average if you don't want sum. If you don't want average, you can do minimum, maximum, and the rest. Let's leave it at sum at the moment. Again, you can delete this one. These are products. So you can name these one products. Another thing, you can show values as a percentage of the grand total. So if you look at this point, there are several things you can do. So sometimes you get to an interview and they ask you to show the values as a percentage of the grand total. So this is basically what they need. So 25% of the total sales, that is basically a quarter of the total sales being uh, these companies having, is from tonic and what? Bottles. The next question is question number 2, which asks about sales per person. So I'm going to write Q2. So this is, sorry, that is Q2. So Q2 is sales per person. So just come back to your data, insert in an existing worksheet. Click there, question 2, then make it somewhere there, press enter. So sales per product, a person. So persons in the rows, we have product sales here. So basically, series is giving us more sales. Highlight, control 1, number formats, use 1000 separator currency, reduce the decimal to zero. That is